Good evening, everybody. I thought it was time to share another perspective during this time that we are experiencing. I thought I'd have a little fireside chat tonight, but the weather was so nice tonight that we didn't need to have a fire. So, still going to have a fireside chat tonight about something that I think is really important. A week ago, I talked about perspective. What's the perspective that we're going to have during this crisis? Obviously, there are some people whose perspective is fear and panic. I hope that that is subsiding at this point, but in case it's not, as Christians, I wanted to talk about that for just a minute. What should our perspective be in the midst of other people around us being in fear or panic, or maybe us ourselves? This is something that's going to be a little personal tonight, because what I want to talk about is how are you actually reacting to this crisis in your heart? Not what you're showing on the outside, not the way you're behaving in front of other people, but what is your actual motivation? What is the emotion of your heart during this time? And if you are a little bit of fear and you are panicking a little bit, worried that you might catch this virus, worried that you might spread it to somebody else, I wanted to just have us think for a minute. We say phrases like God is in control. We say those things all the time. This is a time when we can actually challenge ourselves. Do we really believe that? Now, when we say God is in control, there's a word that we use in Scripture and theology for God is in control. It's called the sovereignty of God. Sovereignty of God means that He is in control of everything. Absolutely everything. And so I want to have you think about that. Do you really believe that God is in control of everything? Because if you do, if you believe that God is sovereign, then there's nothing to worry about. That God has got everything, including this circumstance, and not just this circumstance in a worldly sense, but this circumstance in your life. If God is truly sovereign in your life, He's got it in control. I want to read a passage to you real quick that I think puts it all in perspective, and I hope if you are feeling a little bit of fear or you're a little worried about what's going on, that maybe this can set your heart at ease. It's Psalm 139, verse 16. It says, "You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." Well, that's interesting. If we truly believe that, that means that before we were born, God knew that we were going to be a part of this crisis. He knew we were going to go through it. In fact, I believe in the sovereignty of God to the degree that He is even going to use this crisis in some amazing ways in our lives if we will maintain His perspective. Listen to these next few verses, and if these don't put your heart at ease, I don't know what will. "How precious are your thoughts about me, O God. They cannot be numbered. I can't even count them. They outnumber the grains of sand, and when I wake up, you are still with me." If we understand that God's thoughts for us, for each and every one of us, outnumber the grains of sand, and we live right here by the beach, we know how that is so awesome and amazing. And so tonight, tomorrow, whenever you view this video, take a few minutes to just sit down and think about, do I really trust God in the way that He is sovereign over everything? And what if I even got the virus? What if that was a part of my story and His story for me? Would that change the sovereignty of God? Would that change the way I trusted Him? I hope not, because God can use all things to work together for the good of those who love God and have been called according to His purpose. And so I hope that maybe you'll even take some time to sit down and read Psalm 139. It's an amazing psalm about the sovereignty of God and just how much He cares about each and every one of us. I hope these thoughts will challenge you, and I hope they've blessed you. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.